Welcome one and all to the Kingdom Nonsensica. I am Potato once again, bringing up the tendency of the world to be a freaking clown world. Honk honk. Here we have women are struggling to find men who make as much money as they do. And this is by Hannah Frischberg. Now I did my due diligence on Hannah with this article. I looked her up. I don't see anything that shows that she's an ardent feminist, wearing the pussy hat marching and having Trump derangement syndrome or anything of that nature, or saying kill all men, or anything that would show me that she is she's one of those feminazis. Now, having said that, one would say, well, that's refreshing, but to me that shows an alarming reproach, and that is the fact that even though 75% of American women do not identify as a feminist, they still benefit from these feminist tactics, and they don't stand up against stuff like this. And they still have that myopic, hypergamous nature, which is what this article is showing. This is women admitting that they're hypergamous and that they're gold diggers.
Chivalry is dead, and women killed it.
Now, not all women are like this. Of course, not all women are like this, but enough are. Many are. There's more women like this than there are against, and I'll be showing that in this video, and hopefully you'll agree with me by the time this is ended, even if you're disagreeing with me now. So please take your finger off that downvote button. Like and subscribe. All right, no, just kidding. Anyway, so it's so it shows me that they're not fighting in order to make things more fair and have equality. It's all about superiority. Now, she starts off this article saying, a good man is hard to find, especially in this economy. Right off the bat, we're going to do a falsehood. And it means this article is just...
That is one big pile of shit.
How is the economy doing? Well, I'm going to go to the balance, so therefore, people aren't going to call me a white nationalist, white nationalist, privileged, single white male, Nazi, sexist, incel, right?
Holy shit. We've died and gone to heaven.
Your weapons cannot harm me.
Have we died and gone to heaven? Are we in heaven?
No, this is not heaven.
And this is by Kimberly Amadio, who I've read more than one article from her. This is right on the money. She has 20 years experience in economic analysis and business strategy, and she is the U.S. economy expert for The Balance. She knows her shit, okay? And even with the wage gap and all that nonsense that's been debunked, guess who debunked that? A woman economics professor from Harvard, okay? So I'm not one of these guys that sit there and go AWOL. I don't believe in AWOL, okay? I believe that men should not get married, men should not cohabitate, because the risk of doing so is... there's a cost-benefit analysis that does not sway in your favor. Getting married in America today is like playing Russian roulette, which automatically is a stupid game to play. But it's playing Russian roulette with a six-shooting revolver where 5 of the chambers are loaded. Okay? 5. All right, say 4. Okay, I don't want to be hyperbolic and get that. 4 of the 6 chambers are loaded. And then you're playing Russian roulette with that revolver. Going on here, I'm just going to touch on this. The jobs at it, you could read that at your leisure. We've been doing that since 2018, so that's pretty good. Second quarter GDP growth was 2.1%. This is where people who are detractors or actually have Trump derangement syndrome try to use to say that we're having a recession. Because this was so high in 2018, so when it's leveling out, it's not crashing, it's leveling out. Which is standard. It's Newton's law of economics, you might as well call it. What goes up must plateau. Now, these two show these two are never in any kind of market thing. I never see this like on CNN, Fox, or MSNBC, and I don't know why. And I think it's because, well, most of the media are biased. So, like Obama and Bush Sr., they artificially inflated the government. So you will not see a durable goods order rise when you're getting bank bailouts or they're bailing out the auto industry, because it's not doing it organically. And if they're just creating work instead of jobs, well, then you're not going to have businesses in the free market system get machinery, raw materials in order to expand their business and grow. This shows that the economy is growing exponentially well due to free market systems, and that companies are getting bigger. Even like mid-tier or smaller companies are getting bigger, and they're benefit from it. The opposite effect is if they get like artificially inflated stuff or subsidies, they'll usually try to bank those into overseas accounts. One, to protect the money. Two, to make it as if they're in the black when they're actually in the red, and they're using it as basically just like an oh fuck account. You know, just like you put $5,000 in your savings account, you should have that for the oh shit account in case something arises. That's what happens when you artificially inflate the economy, and that's what businesses do. When businesses are doing well on their own and the economy is steady, they're going to use it in order to build up businesses. Now, that's when Bernie sits there and goes, the 1%. You know, the 1% is actually putting money into play, okay? And I find it funny, actually, talk about Bernie, is when he said there should be no billionaires, is what he said on Twitter recently. He used to say there shouldn't be any millionaires, but, you know, Bernie's a millionaire now, so he has to move the goalpost. If that doesn't show the hypocrisy of that nature, if you're a Bernie bro, you need to really rethink that after that fact. Is the fact that now he's saying there shouldn't be any billionaires. If Bernie was a billionaire, he wouldn't say shit about it, right? So I don't know why that guy has a following, man. I really don't. Anyways, it's usually because people don't take economics in school. YOY core inflation was 1.6%, which is below target. That's very good. Like she states, the Fed sets a target of 2%, which I think is high as well. And it usually falls into the 3% range. Now, most employers will give you a 3% raise a year. But see, with the inflation rate, when it was 3%, that's where we're getting this kind of angsty living wage bullshit, and Yang coming out with a universal basic income and people believing that shit. It's the fact that the inflation rate is negating any type of raise. And what also happens is that on a local and county level is because of the inflation rate, what they'll do is try to sneak in a regulation here, which is basically a hidden tax. That's what regulations are. And they'll try to increase your property tax or the library tax. That's where a lot of shady freaking cities launder their money, is through the libraries now, because they still budget for it, but nobody uses it. So that's one of those things where they'll raise the budget of the library to steal more money from you. And then state taxes will, or county taxes will increase the fuel tax by a percentage of a point, because you won't notice that, will you? Well, you notice it after a while. And then state taxes will try to increase other types of regulations and may increase sales tax on certain items, or put new sales tax and enact them into place. See, all that happens, and that's been happening since the 70s, where Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard, and that is why we're seeing this discrepancy, and we're seeing this inequality gap, where we have a shrinking middle class, we have a high poverty level, and then we have the more and more people that are on these top spectrum of being billionaires like Bezos, right? Because we have pseudo-monopolies. Well, we have monopolies right now, but you can't call them monopolies, but they are, right? So towards the legality of what we call a monopoly, lobbyist groups have changed that, so you can't do it. Anyways, I'm rambling on, so cue the Monty Python clip.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
Oh, I am enjoying this scene.
Get on with it.
I will get on with it. I am sorry. Here, I think it was just a typo. August 2018. That's probably going to be 2019 because, yeah, we had a little slump, but it wasn't a bear market. So the bull market and the bear market, it wasn't a bear market, so it wasn't that harsh. So again, we even keeled on that type of thing. And then, of course, when interest rates remain stable, it means healthy. The Federal Reserve, again, the Federal Reserve, there's people in the Federal Reserve that do not like the current administration, so they increased it. And I think you've heard about him fighting against the Federal Reserve, which last president did that was John F. Kennedy. Things didn't turn out well with him. But yeah, so they're trying to raise it because they don't want a booming economy. That's sad. The Federal Reserve, who, by the way, are a bunch of foreign banks and foreign dignitaries who have no oversight from our government. We say we have like these members of Congress that are supposed to do it, the financial committee, but really, all they do is get told what the Federal Reserve wants them to hear. The Federal Reserve controls our economy, and it isn't even a part of our government. That is sad. That comes from Woodrow Wilson, who was the worst president that ever existed. He enacted the income tax. He enacted the Federal Reserve System after Teddy Roosevelt, Trump busted all these monopolies. They came back with a vengeance, and that's what they did. And after Trump's gone, guess what? They're coming after it, just like we're going to have Woodrow Wilson Part 2. It might be Elizabeth Warren. I shiver at the thought. When a professor who lives in an echo chamber in a padded room of academia gets any type of power, it's dangerous. The only thing that saved us from Woodrow Wilson, because he had a stroke in office, they hid it from the public view, and his wife took over. His wife, our first female president, enacted policies. She did. She controls some things. She's a very charismatic woman, very smart woman. And she really destroyed some of the more dangerous parts of Woodrow Wilson, especially his very segregated viewpoint. So anyways, so our economy is doing well. So right off the bat, she's doing this. Now, you could read a bunch of this from the Cornell Sociologist, which is a wasted degree. You're going to Cornell and you're being a sociologist. For fuck's sake, man, that's a high price to pay that you could get at a community college. I'll share this. Now it's the case more than highly educated women are marrying down. Oh, God forbid. They're doing exactly what... They're equality. They're equal men. Men have been marrying women... have been marrying down forever. You know why? Because it doesn't matter to us. If we feel a woman sincere or attractive or funny or she shares the same interests as we do, that's what we go for. But for some reason, according to this article and according to some of these women in this article, and some articles I will tie into this, this is a big problem for women. So this white knight simp says men have to get with the program. Men don't have to get with any fucking program. Men are already moving off of that plantation. And I'm going to tell you, women, just like I said on Twitter, if you play hard to get in your 20s, when you're at your prime, when you have the most valuable asset is your youth and your vitality, then you are very hard to want in your 30s and 40s. Play hard to get in your 20s, you're hard to want in your 30s and 40s. Especially if you got a couple of crotch goblins and a long list of fucking demands. One of these people that have this high demand is single New Yorker Gina Thibodeau. She has theories of her own about the fella famine.
Master, I was hoping one day I could be the chosen one.
Be quiet.
Master, I don't like him very much. Let's kill him.
Sit down.
I find generally that dudes these days just do less across the board. Now, I really like to hear about what she thinks, what less across the board is. Less across the board for your standards or for theirs? Says the nurse practitioner. I'm going to touch on this in a little bit. The nurse practitioner, okay? Their parents have coddled them and taken care of them, and they just don't go out there and make more money. Great to know that Gina Thibodeau wants a man with money. The 38-year Upper East Sider stresses she's not looking for anything outrageous. No, you're just looking for a guy who will give up his resources, and you only bring a $30 cocktail drink, high demands, $200 in makeup a month, and it looks like your outfit isn't that high end, but your shoes probably cost your one pair of shoes out of the 30 that you have, they probably cost $200 a pop. You know, that type of thing. That's what you're looking for. Safety and security as far as finances go. That means what mine is mine and what's yours is mine. That's what she's looking for. And it's just, listen, Gina Thibodeau, she looks like one of these women that in her 20s wouldn't give you the time of day. I fit all her criteria. Now, when I was younger, this woman would sit there and go, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? Can you believe this guy right here asked me out on a date? Because during my 20s, I was a single dad. I was taking care of 2 kids. I was working 2 jobs. Most of my money was going towards my kids and towards utilities and groceries and such. And so I didn't have any disposable income. So I didn't have time to go out. I got plenty of single moms that would come over and try to hook up with me all the time. So I never had a want for sex. I never had a want for companionship because my kids were enough, and I was perfectly serene. I was MGTOW for my 20s and 30s. Now that I fulfill all her obligations, now she wants a part of me. But the thing is I'm not stupid. So, well, I am stupid, but I'm wise, right? This is why I'm doing these videos, is that my wisdom, I can impart wisdom onto you, but I can't, I'm not smart enough, but I can impart wisdom and say, here's my experiences, don't follow my demand, okay? So, anyways, she is, you know, she's saying that they don't have an innate push to succeed that she does. Okay, she's a nurse practitioner. Gina Thibodeau, why the hell aren't you a plastic surgeon? Why aren't you a doctor? I don't feel that you're ambitious enough for me. I'm always striving to do it. I'm striving to do this freaking channel. I'm striving to do my gaming channel, which, again, links in below. I will have a video of Kingdom Come Deliverance up tonight as well. So I'm doing those things. And I'm also doing a podcast. You know, these are the things I'm doing. Plus, I have another job outside of this. So these are the things that I'm doing in order to benefit myself, right? And the thing is the thing that you brought to the table that might entice me to date you is past its expiration date. Because I age like fine wine, and you're aging like milk. And that's just how it is. You sacrifice your youth, beauty, and fertility, and then later on, I sacrifice my resources. Morgan Jordan's basically, I don't consider myself all that successful. I make a living wage. I'm comfortable. Well, you're comfortable, but you're not comfortable with a guy that's making a living wage and is comfortable with himself. A 32-year-old lives in upstate North Carolina, recently paid off her student loans. You're 32 years old. It took you 10 years to pay off your student loans. So I'm guessing that you have a living wage that is paying for a gender studies type of degree or a psychology degree, some easy degree where you didn't have to work so hard, that you could have the frat parties and have a fun time in college, and now you are a staff administrator of South Carolina College. Because I don't believe there is a staff administrator bachelor's degree out there, right? So you're getting one of those easy degrees like psychology that doesn't take much. So she says the majority of the guys she meets can't say the same. Most men I encounter, they're really underemployed. They can't seem to make a living themselves, she says, adding that many are wildly in debt and intimidated by her stability. I love how women always say, you're intimidated by me, because we say no. Or we don't give them the time of day. Lady, that means that you're trying to date outside of your sexual market value. We're not intimidated by you. We just don't want anything to do with you. Why would I get a 32-year-old when I can get a 22-year-old? Why would I get a 32-year-old that sits there and she's like, oh, my student loan, and I'm such in debt, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, God, I wish somebody would pay these student loan debts. Who would do that? And again, if you're meeting a bunch of guys, if you're walking everywhere and you're seeing smelling shit, then check your own shoe, okay? that isn't a guy problem. Then, of course, this author, Hannah Frischberg, had to grab Boston single Cenk Rivas. My prospective partner's income is something I consider the 20-year-old who works as a staff caregiver at a group home. Being on the lower end myself only serves to feed insecurity. Why are you insecure, my man? You're doing money for yourself, and you're a staff caregiver at a group home, so you're actually helping people less fortunate than you. Now, if you want to succeed and you want to go to the next level, then you do that on your own. But if you get a woman attached to you, that's a drain on your resources. So you always be a staff caregiver. Here's how the current dating cycle happens. If you're trying to build yourself and you happen to get into a long-term relationship and start living with a woman, for some reason, that progress halts. So just work on yourself, my man. You shouldn't be insecure about that. Isaac Suarez says he's not turned off by a woman who means business, but he's found that his relationships tend to last longer. See, here's the thing. He's wasted something he can never get back. His time. Isaac, you've wasted your time. Your relationship tend to last longer, which means they don't tend to last. So you're wasting the most valuable asset that you have as a man. Your time. You can't get that back. Now, Thibodeau comes back. Actually, let's go Isaac. I've dated women with money, and full-time professional women tend to be busier, and it's more difficult to spend time. So the 26-year-old who lives in Portland, Oregon. Oh, we all know about Portland, Oregon. Full-time professional women tend to be busier. Yeah, because they're riding a carousel. Because you're low on their priority. So if you're low on their priority, fuck them. You know, get in, pump and dump, just like every other guy, and just fucking leave and let them live alone. Like Thibodeau says, she knows it's not necessarily a guy's fault. No, what a condescending, patronizing fucking statement. If he's struggling financially, still given the circumstances, she's had to devise a plan B. I'm sure she's used a lot of plan B in her lifetime. If Mr. Right doesn't come along soon, there's no such thing as Mr. Right. Yeah, your standards are too fucking high. She may have to shack up with some lady friends at a professional level. Wonderful. I am all for the Golden Girls. Go ahead. Maybe you have some freaking cats with you as well. But the fact is I've never heard of guys shacking up with each other. So here, it shows what her motivation is. Her motivation is for a guy to move in, pay all the fucking utilities and bills, while she spends her money on materialistic, vapid fucking things. Okay? Now, the New York Post also had this. The marrying down, I wanted to touch on this. This is one of the most fucking disgusting articles I've ever seen. Just looking at the title, this is what I just have to do. Right? So, the solution to New York City's man drought, date down. Attorney Andrea loves her electrician husband. Okay, why is that a dating down? I'm sure she's an attorney in the fact that she probably does like some stupid bullshit contract law. Where it doesn't pay a lot of money. She does a lot of paperwork. She doesn't have to have like these major skills like prosecuting attorneys do. While this guy needs to have a wealth of knowledge or he dies. An electrician can die if he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. All she does, Jesus Christ, man. Marrying down, he married down because he got an attorney. I mean, Jesus, we have lawyer jokes for a reason. And I just love the condescending tone of this whole fucking article. He's an electrician, and that usually says, how interesting is from all my white-collar acquaintances. You know this isn't going to last. It's not going to last, because as soon as she finds a high-power attorney, she's dumping this poor bastard. And I just hope she leaves the kids with him. Because for her and for many women, it is the social status. It is how people portray you that is more important than the love for the fucking husband that you have. We get it all the time. We're used to it. It's a little annoying that people stereotype so much about career choice. My husband is successful, driven, and devoted dad. What more could I want? Yeah, okay. You would want a high-power attorney or a partner that's doing the same thing you're doing and gives you a higher social status. Hypergamy is not all about money. It's also about social status. She met Jason during her second law school while hanging out at a watering hole on Long Island. She was still reeling from her previous relationship with a guy who ticked off all the right boxes. And here we go. I had a boyfriend in college who was perfect on paper. She's still looking for that perfect on paper, even though she's married. We both were going to be attorneys. He had a drug problem. I knew deep down he wasn't right. She was fucking Chad. She was fucking Chad in law school, in college, probably before law school. But he let his drug problem out a little too soon, and not while they were committed. That sucks. While committing to Jason meant saying goodbye to the prospect of a glittery Manhattan lifestyle, for now, I will add as an addendum. Both Jason's son from his previous marriage and his business are on Long Island. Andrea got a loving, committed partner in return, and the two wed. God, I hope he just keeps that one child, his own child. That's nice. I hope he gets a lot of time with his child. But she's still looking for that thing. Everything in this article shows that she is longing for that. All right, let's look at Tonya Burke, a 28-year-old Brooklyn-based research scientist with a master's degree. As if that's something special. That just means you're afraid of the outside world. You know, as long as you do your thesis papers and such, and you keep on racking up debt, anybody can get a master's degree. Most people just want to get the hell out of college because it's a waste of fucking time. She's engaged to a Long Island barbershop owner. Okay, so he's an entrepreneur. Already he's ahead of the curve. So how is she marrying down again? I always tended to go for a man's man, which I just wasn't finding at college. Are you seeing a pattern here, gentlemen? Are you seeing a pattern here?
The chosen one is here to help us. I like him. A lot.
Listen. Shh. I see the way you look at him. I'm a man too, you know. I go pee-pee standing up.
This marrying down. All right? She wants Chad. She wants Tyrone. She wants Juan. She will dump this guy at the drop of a hat. We just have to find out when. Okay? Let's read and find out when she's going to get rid of this guy that isn't a man's man. She's been with her fiance. Oh, God, dude. I hope he didn't marry her. I hope he didn't marry her. Oh, who's been with her fiance for nearly 7 years since they met at a barbershop. I also think the fact we have different professional backgrounds is a huge advantage. If I had settled down with a doctor or fellow scientist, I'm sure there would be some competition. But with my fiance, I feel I can relax. I'm a pretty strict type A person at work. Oh, God. This is these type A person. I'm a bitch, but, you know. But I feel I could just turn that off at home. I doubt you do. I doubt it. And a lack of higher education doesn't necessarily mean financial instability. Here's the thing. I have student loan debt, which my husband doesn't have. There you go. I told you, gentlemen, we would find out the reason of why she's with this man. He's an entrepreneur. He's making more money. He has very little debt. He is paying off her freaking student loans more than likely. As soon as these student loans go down, I have heard so many stories. So many stories. As soon as the husband pays off his wife's student loan debts, all of a sudden she's going to go for that man's man. Well, he's going to be blindsided too. This poor bastard is going to be blindsided. And guess what? He's going to lose his barbershop. She's going to take half of that fucking barbershop. Oh, see, this is how it gets so bad. Kristen McGinnis, here's another one. Again, these two are not marrying down. A barbershop owner who is an entrepreneur, owns his own business, and a freaking electrician is not marrying down for these women. Those men are smart. They're in a trade. They have very little debt. Kristen McGinnis, 38, a nonprofit professional and published author. Oh, for fright. That means what? She runs a Tupperware a wine guide multi-level marketing, MLM. Pyramid scheme, right? Is that what she means? And every once in a while she'll write a children's book. Jesus Christ. I love how they build up the women. And even though with this word salad bullshit title, you could still see it's bullshit. With a master's degree, finds herself on the receiving end of raised eyebrows when it's revealed her husband, 41-year-old Tara Karabatas, is a high school dropout who drives an Uber and operates a restaurant cleaning business. The man's an entrepreneur. He owns his own business. He hasn't been indoctrinated by college. He busts his ass to make more money than she could ever make. So he's making the money. Two met when Carabatis was working as a hairdresser. Oh, Jesus, he can even fucking cut hair. This guy is talented, right? He's one of these guys that sit there and go, you know what? I'm not going to go by society's standards. I'm going to do my own thing or whatever makes me happy, and I'm going to make money at doing what I think I can do. And he did it. That's what MGTOW's all about, gentlemen. The only problem he did is he hooked up with this flaky author, and it's going to cost him one day. But maybe he really wanted a daughter. I don't know. That's our urge, man. That's our urge. We really fight that. We got to fight that biological urge. And I'm telling you, especially you young guys, fight it. While we do fight, sometimes fight about finances. Yeah, where you're throwing like a wine glass at him, saying you're such a fucking bum. I could have been with Chad. And Chad sitting there going, hey, let me come over just for coffee. And then sits there and goes, you know what? I just can't commit right now. I just can't commit. You know, things are difficult. You know my challenges. You know I can't do it. That said, not every woman considers blue collar guys blue ribbon material. Dawn, author of She Makes More, had a blue collar partner too and found it to be a lonely position. Now divorced, she says that while the income discrepancy wasn't the main reason, she had to handle her partner with kid gloves. One of the biggest challenges, at least in my experience, is protecting your mate from judgment. From you and from your friends. You feel like you always have to explain why your partner is such a great fit in a way women who are in a relationship with someone in a similar profession just don't. So she divorced this guy because of what society deemed. Again, women want to fit into the tribe. Women don't want to be want to be ostracized. This woman divorced her husband because of what her friends and colleagues thought.
Now comes the part where we throw our heads back and laugh. Ready? Ready!
And right now, she's probably fucking lonely. She's probably lonely, and she's probably on antidepressants and chugging them down with a nice red wine. I want to date men of a higher rank than me, adds Linda Veliciano, a 35-year-old divorced marketing strategist from Staten Island. They should be a chief officer or business owner. I'm a director. My job is demanding. Every director I've known. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Yeah, those meetings and those 2-hour lunches are really fucking demanding, lady. And men who don't understand that finding it intimidating. Well, what about men who do understand it and find that you take half days off to go freaking shopping and shit? Because I remember one director I knew that would do that kind of stuff. Her biggest thing that I ever saw her do was basically do gift baskets for women that got knocked up. Really. Anyways, so this is a joke of an article from the same New York Post about marrying down. Now, here's what women have to realize. Now, because we talked about the economy, I'm gonna basically bring up another economic term, and it's called the law of diminishing marginal utility. Right? So it states the additional utility. It's an increase, right? So you have an increase in consumption, and that decreases with an increase in the level of consumption. Now, we could do the law of inverse marginal utility when it comes to women. So guess what, women? The more cock you have stuffed inside you, the more your utility fades. So, and the more a guy dates, it's same thing. Inverse marginal utility will make up a new term here. This is the more men date, the less it actually satisfies them. The more we just find the true nature of women in today's society. And the juice just isn't worth the squeeze, right? There's a reason they call it Mother Nature and they call it Father Time. Because those are our two gifts. The gift for a woman is her natural beauty and her natural gifts when she is, when she's born, when she's growing up, when she goes through puberty, and then when she gets at that apex of her sexual fertility. A man's most valuable gift is time. We need time to build ourselves. We need time to grow as a person. We need time in order to find out what our purpose is in life. And now, most guys, if they stay single, will find that around the end of their 20s and their early 30s. By that time, women are now losing what nature gave them. A lot lose it quicker because of bad decisions and bad life choices. Drug use, alcohol use, promiscuity, or just being fucking lazy. Netflix and chill too much, eating pizza off of their fucking stomach. Modern American women for you. So when they do that type of stuff, you're really playing yourself. So you can do all these articles where you blame men. In fact, here, I mean, the double standard is alarming. You guys may have recognized these. Genius woman gets 20 boyfriends to buy her 20 iPhones, sells them, and buys a house. This is fraud. This is manipulation. This is either the smartest homeowner to date or the worst, most hardcore troll. No, she's a fucking criminal. But will anything be done to her? Absolutely freaking not. Absolutely freaking not. And she couldn't even do it right. She asked 20 of her boyfriends. First of all, no one says anything about 20 of her boyfriends. So this woman is using 20 guys who I hope freaking sued her. And then she subsequently sold to a cell phone recycling website for roughly $17,000. She couldn't even do the work to get the prime amount of return for these fucking iPhones. She didn't sell them on eBay for 3 times the cost of what a recycling place would give. I mean, Jesus Christ. And she's known as a genius. This one says a genius. And she's got a house. I guarantee in 10 years that house will be repossessed. Now, New Jersey man scammed women out of $2 million on dating sites for the Department of Justice. But he did $2 million stuff. He was 35 years old. He would woo his victims online, convince them to send him money under the promise that he'd be sending back gold bars from the Middle East. Same thing. Dude, same thing. This guy is saying he's going to give you a resource, and that girl was telling these guys that she was going to give up her greatest asset between her legs. Same thing. I do not see a difference between these two people committing fraud. All right. Yet this guy, he was arrested Wednesday and charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He is accused of scamming his victims out of more than $2.1 million. Right? He'll go to jail. He will go 15 years in prison, and he will get that $250,000 fine. Meanwhile, that woman has a fucking house. So if you think there isn't a freaking double standard, you are outside of your goddamn mind. If you stayed here all this time, thank you so much for it. If you want to say everyone's a Nazi that doesn't agree with you, then I have to sit here and say there is a term for this. If you want me to be German, then I'll be German and say, Das Bluen von Himmelsversprechen. The blue promise from the sky. And that means it's a promise that can't be fulfilled. So women, if you think a high-value man is going to marry nowadays, those days are few and far between. You cannot fulfill your promise of getting your high-end job and getting a guy that has a high-end job as well. Because those guys don't want to marry because they can get any woman they want. Why is a high-value man that's making $1 million or more a year going to shack up with a 38-year-old woman? Because my personality. Yeah. You have a great personality. You could talk about The Bachelor and Dancing with the Stars. Get out of here. Anyways, that is the ridiculous of the dating scene now. That is how women view men as disposable utilities. They will monkey branch at the last sign, the first sign of trouble. Just don't do it, guys. Go invest your money every time you think about going on a date or paying for dinner or something of that nature with a woman. Think of yourself, what do I really want? Do I want a guitar? Maybe I want to save some money and get some, like a cabin in the woods or a cabin at the beach. You know, a timeshare maybe. Part-time condo or something. Maybe I want some real estate. right? Think about that and sit there and go, you know what? It's just not worth it. Like, if I take this woman on a date and things go well, then I got to take her on another date, and then I got to take her on another date, and then I got to take her on another date. Now, unless you find something that's viable where she's paying for half for all this, or she's paying more, go for it. But then again, as this article shows, even then she's going to hate you, man. So if you don't make enough, if you make enough and you refuse to give it up, they don't like you. If they make more money and you're not fulfilling their high standards, they don't like you. So give them what they want. Let them just not like you. And go do what you like. And hang out with guys that like you for who you are. Alright? Because sex, go on Tinder. Use a professional. I know the Me Too phase. You might not want to use the Me Too phase. So go to Montreal or something. I don't know. Take a trip to frickin' Thailand. I don't know what to tell you on that one. I tell you to fight your urges. And try to go full, like, monk mode. Because it really is, after a while. I had a little bit of a sexual experience after, this whole thing went down. And after my healing period. And I'm telling you, I've never felt more at peace than I just sat there and went, I'm not having sex just to make myself feel better or to say, I'm attractive enough. As soon as I stopped that and I started going MGTOW and I started looking at MGTOW, I started sitting there and going, you know what? This is kind of how I want to live my life. I want to do the things I enjoy. Even though I'm not going to be wildly successful or have the monetary funds fall into my lap, it's what I want to do, and that's what I'm going to do. So, thanks for joining me, and get off my interlawn.